Oh, okay.
Okay,
So
so
that will help then?
Little nostril thing, but then I just gonna draw it in myself, put it in.
yeah,
Okay, this part. I don't know if you got this picture, right?
yes, we got that
Yeah.
picture. Yeah,
Yeah. So it's a very high contrast. I mean, the nice little exercise to do. And it's just like you have to, it's just like it's so subtle with all the light color, just white. And if you look, you have to squint in order to see his face, or see his eyes. If you see it from the screen here, you can actually see his eye, right? This one here,
right.
quite nicely. But if you look close, there's only one white here and the rest is all dark. And then all these little highlight there with a little black, it's just like a little bit of a hint of light hitting there. So this will be a fun one to do when you have a chance to do it. You didn't do the other one, right? I didn't.
No.
Yeah. No, that's okay. Once you get this one started, I will send you the other one, and it's more or less the same kind of contrast thing, right? Just you really have to just imagine it, in the dark. Like for example, this eye here, I tell you, it's just completely in the dark here.
Yeah.
Except
yeah,
that few little light hint of eyelashes dangling there, So and then a little bit of light on the bottom to show the bottom eyelid. And then when you get to do that, you get to see it. And then the rest of them are just absolutely dark on this side coming down and down all the way down to here and have a little light there as well. So yeah, you need to almost have a B pencil in order to first give it a little coat of pencil. Now you said you don't use stump. I find
Susan never used stumps, so I'm not used to stumps at all.
Oh, yeah, it just makes it look darker. Now you can see, I don't know if you can see the screen. This side here is much lighter than this side. It's because I already went in there with a stump to smear and make the dark color look darker, right? And then
Doesn't it make it look shiny?
A little bit, but you don't push it too hard. You just basically blending the lead together.
Lucy's having trouble getting in.
Oh, the same number. Do you have that number for?
Yeah, I'm going to resend her the link on email, but she has it, so I'm not sure what the problem is, but I'll resend it to her.
Because we have to be let in, that's why, right?
Oh, so she's not being let in. Okay.
Yeah. We just have to tell Ruth.
Ruth, can you hear me? Oh, there she is. Lucy's in. Okay. You're in. Okay.
Hi, Lucy.
Hi.
Well, we're just talking a little bit about this image that I sent you, and I'll explain to you. If you don't have it ready, that's okay, because look at me. Last night I worked all night just on this damn apple.
One apple.
Then I found
ahead of you.
This, and this morning, then just when I was talking to Francis, I realized that I'm using a wrong pencil. It's a watercolor black. It just looks so good, right? See here. And I don't know why they say 8B. Why 8B? It doesn't matter if it's watercolor pencil, right? I mean, why 8B? But yeah. So anyway, I have to then go over like this one here. I wanted to get it as dark as I can on this side here, right? Trying to get it as dark as I can. Yes, Francis, you're always gonna get a little shine from these guys because they always have a little bit of binder in there, right? And usually they're using wax and some kind of mixture of wax with other things. So, so when the more you rub, the shiny it's gonna get. But which is okay, right? Yeah, no, I mean, I look at this and I go, oh my God, there's 4 more apples to go. It's, this is one of those projects, you just do one at a time and then just keep doing it. It takes forever to finish, but you know, at the end, it's going to look fantastic, right? Now, the usage of stump is really good. Is that in some of these areas, like for example here, you know, I literally have to use a stump to blend it nice and smooth like that. Very, very gentle, you know, to get that lovely, you know, soft shades, you know, shading in here like this. But I also want to show you that it's much easier on the larger stuff. Just take a piece of tissue paper, you know, like the ones that you use, facial tissue paper, and those are really good. But you can always experiment. I find that the paper towel seems to have a lot of texture on it. You know, sometimes it just doesn't fold as well. So you fold them in like this and fold it again, right? And then you just point it as in a point here like this. You know, if you can see it. And then you just tightly go and roll it over and over and over until you get that like a triangular or a cone shape. And then what I do is the same thing again. You take a piece of tape, and then from the on the back here, just give it a little, you know, tape down so that it doesn't move around very much. And this is much easier to you know, you don't even need to get the big stump. This is for blending. It's just wonderful to use it for blending like that, because the tissue paper is soft enough and you don't have to go and find a newsprint to do this, right? So yeah, a lot of these areas, see, I can just, you can't really see it's close up, but far away, but boy, you know, you have pencil mark and everything on it. But once you get that going, it just smooth it out so beautifully. And it is great for shading and especially the softer shades, right? Like that. So it's easy enough to make, doesn't cost you too much. you know, just have a box of Clinics, and then you know, once you get dirty, it's even better, because then you can use it again and again, because they have paint, they have lead on it, and that's even better, right? See here, I'm gonna just give it a little rub. See that how soft that is? Because if you're trying to shade it with pencil, it's hard to get it like that. You know, this is just like one of those sponges for makeup for your face. So, okay, so yeah, this, you got to make some of these. You know, it's really good to have. And of course, you know, anywhere you feel like rubbing and then doing all that later on, you can do all that stuff, blend it nicely. Yeah. So what were you working on, Lucy?
Okay, I've been doing a lot of work.
Oh, good.
Homework.
Yes.
Yes, but I traced out the other man.
Yeah.
I did trace out this guy, not the
Oh,
other man.
yeah. No, that's okay. And are you putting him on a white paper?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you wanted me to put him on gray paper?
Well, if that one would be nice to put it on a almost like a off-white, you know, cream color or something that is not white.
Yeah.
But you can do it on that one for now, because it would be nice to be able to use the white chalk pencil to highlight it, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you're good. Just leave it like that.
I noticed like he didn't, it was hard to trace him
Yeah.
because he was so, because the
Yeah,
paper was gray. So I noticed what I had to do is like be in a dark place, like I had to put my head under the big blanket underneath my thing in order to see, but then it worked.
Yeah, but you know what? It doesn't have to be exactly like that, right?
No, but
Yeah, it just to give you a chance to work with with a little bit of colored paper, and then, you know, and a little bit of white to do the old master stuff. But let me
did
see
this
here.
so far. See my vase and pears, I guess.
Looks great, Lucy.
Oh yeah.
Good.
Okay, need it darker, right, Lucy?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I say. It's the hardest part is really to try to get that nice, you know, even you can get up to 8 or 9. That's good. It doesn't have to be 10. But even for me, I can only get it up to maybe 8.5. You know, it's hard to get them really, really dark. And for one thing, it's just I'm too afraid to push too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well,
you
it
know
just
what?
takes a lot of time. I kind of didn't, I ran out of time, you know?
But no, you know what? You can work on this, and then I think Pat is here, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see him. Yeah. Yeah. How are
Yeah,
you,
I'm here
Pat?
now.
Yeah.
Good, how are you?
Good. Good. What are you working on? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, you got lots done.
Oh, that's terrific.
That was
Yeah.
a couple of hours.
Oh, yeah. And I was just saying that, you know, the eye. Have you noticed that? You really don't see the eye. You know, this is the whole idea about this high contrast, high shadowing. It really, you know, let's leave to the viewer to imagine what it was there. And it's amazing how you stand back and you close your, you know, squint a little bit, then you can immediately see it, right? Because
Yeah.
if you look close out, there's no eye at all. You just have a little white there, you know.
Yeah.
I was telling Francis that, and then of course I have to keep restore or rescue some of these on this side because I keep losing it. But again, you know, so then what I need to do is just go slowly back in again and just go and make it super, super dark on this side now, you know, and then make sure that it blend into the bridge nicely. But either way, you know what, it's gonna work. You know, you just have to be patient, like darkening and stuff like that. And of course, with this one, you need to shade and then squint, shade and then squint. I mean, otherwise you can't really see. I can't really see where these eyes is until you squint. I think I'm going a little too high here. Okay, so it's amazing with just a little bit of white. It makes a huge difference. So now, of course, we have to use a stump to blend this in a little bit so they you won't have all those white. Yeah. So, Francis, when I blend like that, I'm not really pushing anything. I'm just trying to move the all the lead right into the white of the paper, right?
Right. Yeah.
Because otherwise you have too many white, and that's what happened with your apples. You know, I can see
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
apple.
Yeah.
There's a lot of white in between the pencil line.
Right.
So yeah,
If I keep a real sharp pencil, real sharp, I can get into those spots, right?
Yeah.
But it's very labor intensive.
oh yeah. But doing faces is great, and you know, and I don't know, Pat, if you have you were here when I was talking about, you know, the position of the nose here. I think he had a bit of a skin coming here. There's two pieces of skin. Usually we have one piece going down this way, just the one muscle here. But for some reason, I think he has an extra piece of wrinkly here because I think probably he was trying to squint as well, and then it kind of changed the facial like skin there. But whatever you want to do, it's okay. Just make sure that you know, just make sure that you find the right location for this side of the nose, this left side here. So it's not even that visible. What I did was I just go and say, okay, I estimate where they're gonna sit, and then I put this right in, just to give him a nice little nose there. And of course, the rest of these are all quite super dark. So I'm gonna take my time and then just go in there and start putting all the black in, right? See? And then of course, as you can see, when I put my pencil on, it skip, and then you got lots of white area. And then of course, you already know that use a stump. And were you here when we talk about making stump from a tissue paper?
No,
No? Okay, I'll show you again. And also sometimes, you know, if you don't get this, you can make your own, right? So,
Yeah.
and I like it better because it sometimes you cover large areas. So this is a regular facial tissue. So you fold it again, and fold it in half again, about this size here. And however you want to roll it, some people can actually roll from the beginning. You know, the other one here I did was I start folding it right in the middle. But if you want to start from the corner, you can. You know, you just keep rolling it and rolling and rolling until it just kind of took out the whole entire thing. See, like that. And then you just keep rolling until you get the cone here going here like this, right?
Yep.
And then I'll just take a piece of tape and hold it nice and tight, and then take the back. Okay, so when I use this guy here, for example, over here, I'll go and say, let's say paint, color these. I'll put this nice dark color in first and position them. I mean, a lot of time you don't need to worry about them being even. All you need to do is make sure that it's in the right position, right? Like this. And then this part here is soft again. And then there's a whole bunch of beard I need to, there's a little hint of hair over here. So with this, then you take this homemade one. See? You just blend a lot better, you know, and then you don't need to use them. Some people like to use the finger, but at least this will be your first blend. After you get that in, then you can see where you need to be soft, a little bit softer. Like for example here, whoa, I actually put quite a bit of dark over here. I totally changed his face here, but anyway. Yeah, so then you can see from this gray color, you can take these and start going some places where you need to get started. So you go like that. Oh yeah, see here? Then I take that, then just a little bit here on this side. You know. Oh yeah, and this one here, a little soft, it gets softer as you move out. This is my piece of muscle there. Okay, and then the same thing with it.
Willie, I have 3 stumps, different sizes, 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
How do I know which one to use?
Well, there's usually we call it the soft and the hard. The shorter one, the little one, are harder. I don't know
Okay.
which one. Can you show me which one you got?
I have a 3. Oops, where's my camera? I have a 3.
That's
I
the
have a
soft.
1.
Yeah, that's the
and a 2.
softer one, right? Yeah, the softer one is very similar to the tissue paper. They're made of newsprint, right? Can you feel it's a lot softer? And then there's some, but different company, they call it different name. But you know, this one I got it is from Taiwan. This is actually from Delta, and it's short.
Yeah.
And it's just simply regular rolled paper, and it's really, really, really hard, you know. So you get into small area because the tip is made of the paper that it's really, really hard paper, so that it doesn't press or soft, like not like this guy here. After a while, the tip starting to bend a little bit, well, which is okay. You know, I like that because then you can smear even more, right? So it's a small area, small area. You use the hard and thinner one.
Okay.
And then for the larger, softer area where you need to do, you either make your own like this, or you can use a Q-tip.
Right.
Yeah, and the Q-tip is really works good too, because you can go into some area, you know, and just gently, again, for the Q-tip is because of the cotton is so soft, then it will give you all this lovely, lovely gray color, which is about, I would say, 0 to 3, perhaps 0 to 3. And of course, you don't want you don't want your paper to be showing a lot of white, right? The original color, because you know you just need to put some little gray on it. And some of these areas I already have some shading in there. Then I'll just go ahead and use a Q-tip or use your larger stump, you know, to blend. So these are always very similar, you know, just whatever works for you. And sometimes it's because I already have a lot of lead on it, and it's so nice to just give it a little base. Now, is he using this? Or I can use this and say, okay, I need a base shades first before I go into do the dark. So you look at the picture and say, oh yeah, there's a medium light gray here. And then the ear really is all not white. It's 2, 1, 2, or 3. Yeah, see? So that's your gray. And then we can come back and then use a super dark, like for example, right here is quite dark. So I'm gonna go in with a softer pencil and say, oh yeah, look at here, it's really dark. So dark, dark, dark again. So you just jump back and forth using, you know, all the different stuff and then just help you a little bit. Okay. And then of course around the ear here is super dark as well. Just give it a little push. Okay. Oh yeah, I mean, you know, I love doing this, guys, because especially faces like that. I mean, it's so, I don't know, it's fun to do. It's frameable and it's really quite nice at the end. Except, like I said, my eye on the other side, I need to go back and work it. For some reason, there's some dark color here that's not quite dark enough. All right. Yeah, so the reason why I sent you all these images is that we have few classes to go. You know, sometimes working on one, I find it so boring working on one. So that's why I was jumping back and forth to all these, you know, just to work on everybody. And so this is another fellow that needs a lot of shading in here too.
Don't think we have him. No,
Huh?
we don't have him. No.
No, this one's for the Friday morning class.
So
But,
really, it looks like you're working on a quarter sheet. Are you working on a pretty large sheet?
yeah, it's like about quarter 11 by actually bigger than 11 because it just happened that I had them cut from before. So it's
Okay.
between almost 14 here and 11. Yeah.
Okay.
And what size do you do on with yours on?
Well, I've got it the same as the watercolor. It would be an eighth
Yeah.
of a large sheet. I have a stone
Yeah,
pen.
yeah. Yeah, so that's a
But
quarter. Yeah.
I'm thinking it's easier to go bigger with drawing.
Yes, in some way, yes. I find it in faces big is easier, but for fruit like that, because you got to cover a large area nice and smooth, is a lot more work, right? But I mean, we shouldn't think about more work or less work or you get it done quickly. I mean, you got to enjoy it. I think that's a part of it. You know, you need to, when you draw these, and you just try to enjoy it as much as you can.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then you look at the picture again and going, yeah, there's definitely needs some changes in this left eye, so, or right eye. But if I look it on the screen, it doesn't look so bad.
Looks great.
It's just like it's hidden, you know, the eyes is hidden in here with a little bit of highlight. And this could be just the eyelash. So then, of course, I have to switch pencil small one to get into tight corners here, you know, to make sure that it's okay. Yeah, for some reason, I think, okay, because these eyes on this side has a little darker line here as well. You see, the eyes are the most important part, right? If you don't get that part right, then the rest doesn't do. So here is, yeah, if I were to line up here on this way, that is the bottom part of his eye, right? This part here. And then this just happened to be a little light that's up here on that skin over here. And this actually is the eye itself. It's right there. So I'm going to make it slightly darker. Yes, you know, you can definitely see the shine in a certain light, but unfortunately, in order to get it really dark, you know, you need to do that. Maybe reduce it a little bit here. Okay, let's look at Lucy's, the other old man.
Well, I'm just starting him.
Yeah, okay,
I've just started his ear.
right.
I'm just starting his eye now.
And that one is really quite neat because, you know, there's a lot of the part that the artist left out, right?
Yeah.
And that's the trademark, you know, of the old master. A lot of the Rembrandt drawing and stuff like that, they all concentrate on the main feature, the eyes, the nose, the ears, and the mouth, and the rest is just kind of, you know, they put a little extra work on a certain part, just like in this case, around his mouth, you know, they put a lot of little hair in there, and I'm putting all the work, and then the rest he just ignore, right? And that's good enough. I
How
like
did he,
that.
how did he get the white in there? Do you use a white pencil? Is that
Yes, you use the white chalk white.
chalk?
Yeah, and you can use Conte as well, white Conte, right? And the white Conte is compressed harder than the chalk. Chalk is a lot looser.
So I have a white colored pencil. Would that work?
Yeah, that should work. You know, depends on the paper. If it's white paper, you won't be able to see much of it.
Oh, I've got gray paper. I can use
Yeah,
gray.
if you have gray or cream color or light brown color, you know,
Yeah.
that's where, you know, the colors come in. And some of the drawing with this case, you don't necessarily have to just use white. You can actually use color, right? You can put a highlight in some area rather than white. You can use a light yellow or light brown or light orange, right? It would just totally change it. So like if you look at this, the second picture I see you can see they have the white on this nose, right? And the forehead a little bit, and just a little bit here and there. And that would just make it look more three-dimensional, right? Anyway, so besides doing this exercise thing, I'm going to talk to you about the basic kind of a drawing thing, you know, about how to position and how to search for things and play a good pigeon. Okay, let me get some paper. Yeah, take your time to make it look really, really good. Okay, so when we talk about, I didn't tell you about the pigeon business, right?
No.
Not yet. And that's why you sign out this course for us, because you want to know how to play a good pigeon.
Okay.
Okay, so this is how it works. I'm gonna just do a half a sheet so that I can explain to you what. Okay, so let's use a face, or it's because it's easier to do. So if I were to quickly draw a kind of just a quickie kind of make-believe face here, right? Now, when you see a picture like that, and then you want to draw this face, how do you position things? I mean, that's where the pigeon business come in, right? So the theory behind it is that the paper is like your park, because they have four corners, right? And not all parks have four corners, but any kind of field, you know, or a plot, it's always has four corners. And so what they observe is with the pigeon, they hide corn in certain areas. So let's say they hide corn here, you know, some corn right in this entire park, and could be that they have another corn, you know, some corn hidden in this area, right? So for the pigeon, you know, that's what they do. They don't just go into a garden and start wandering around, walking around like chicken. I don't think chicken are as smart as pigeon. So what they do is they grid this thing. They grid the garden so that they actually know which area they cover and which area they don't, because they can fly high up and look down. So they, in their head, they actually already divided this whole entire part into quarters. Okay, so then when they go into decided that, okay, today we're going to use this corner. I'm going to do the southwest corner. And then in the southwest corner, they divided again into quarters. I should draw it a little darker so you can see, right? Yeah, like that. So they will fly in here, and then they will go walk around and walk around. Oh, nothing there. And then walk around, nothing here, nothing here. So that's basically the whatever amount of time they can do that's to figure out where the corn is. So then they will fly in the next day, and then they will go, okay, let's do this, the northeast quadrant and here. So you can walk around, and then you walk around, and finally you found the corn here. And they make a mental note where it is by doing this division. Right, so then they know here. So the next day when they fly back, they don't even have to go look. They will go to that place because there may be some more corn left, or maybe there's some more. So that's how they divide it up like this. And the same thing with this one. They divide, and then they go like that. Then they divide, and then they'll tell themselves. See, they tell themselves that, oh yeah, it's in this quadrant. This, northwest, and then there's northeast of the northwest, and then they somehow know how to do that. So why are we talking about the pigeon? Because that's how you go and look for your drawing. If you can do a mental note, some people can. If you draw long enough, you can actually look at the paper and you already know that was the center, right? And then you can see that that's a northwest, southwest, and all that kind of stuff. So on another sheet of paper, I'm just gonna rip these. So that when you're doing a drawing and say, oh, I want to copy these. So it doesn't matter what size of paper, it could be bigger paper, right? A bigger sheet of paper. Then you just decide and say, okay, here's my center. You can do lightly so that you don't need to erase too much of it, right? And then you go and look for over here and say, okay, where is the eye sit? So let's just say the eye here. Okay, so then you do this, and now you know that it's in this quadrant. And then if you go divide it again, right? See, if you divide it again in 4, you can see the eye starts almost in the middle. So you go here. Let me draw it harder so that you can actually see. But this is not precise division. So, just so that you know how it works. There we go. Now you can say, oh yeah, the eye sits. This eye here sits right there and about here. Right? And the skin goes down to here, enter here. So then the other eye, if it sits right here, then the same thing again, divide. And this time you can see, yes, it's still sitting in this quadrant, right? And so on and so forth. So you understand how that works, right?
Yeah, it's like a grid approach, right?
Yes, it's like a grid without really measuring for most artists, because you don't, unless you have a very picky clientele that say, I want you to draw this picture of my grandma and I want it to be like photo, like real. So then you have to go and measure with the ruler and then doing all that kind of stuff. That's how they went from the pigeon business. They studied the pigeon into understand how they think into the grid for the artist to use as well. Okay. And of course, it's just like the two is kind of connected. But if you can go and play a better pigeon, you don't need to grid like heavily like that. So then on the sheet of paper, it's just through training and practicing. Then you can kind of go eyeball it. You simply need to eyeball, and even just put a dot and say, yeah, that's a center. And here's the center of the northwest quadrant. This is the center of the northwest quadrant, and then the center of this one. See, you know what I mean? Here's the X, here's the X. And then all you see is the 3 dots here. And then you immediately know that the eye sits right here. So you see, you don't need to guess where to start. So if you can just, like the pigeon, without drawing the line, you can actually figure it out, as long as you know all this theory about this division for, center line, center, and center again, It's all consists of dots. So
So-
then
So Willie, are you putting your grid on the picture you're looking at though? You're posing a grid on
you
it.
can, but like I said, for beginners and for practicing, you can do that. But like I said, good artists, they don't,
Oh.
but you have to do like thousands of these drawing before you can literally with your naked eye and then just kind of go, oh yeah, here is the point, right? And then if you have to help you can just dot. And then of course on the picture here, even without all the grid, they already, your eye can actually divide, your brain's already divided it up and then you know exactly where the center is, right? So yeah, for us, we don't want to compete with a master, with a professional. If it helps you to gently grid it, dot even, that will help.
Okay.
Right? So this apply to any kind of drawing, like still life, any drawing. Because when you draw, most of the time you draw on the rectangular or square paper, right? So it will still have four corners. So when you're copying something, and of course, when you go outside to draw, some people actually have a mat cut out. The matting? Yeah, they cut a hole and then they'll just hold it up. They hold it up in front of them and see the landscape, which part they want to do. So, the mat board will be with a little lovely opening in here. And then of course, and you just kind of figure out where you want to paint the landscape. So then you might have mountains and whatever that it's, it's going like this, and there's trees or whatever growing here. So even within this little frame on the sheet of paper, they already know, they already can tell, saying, oh yeah, through this little screen, I can see that that's a halfway point here and that's a halfway point here. So then on here, you kind of know, oh yeah, there's a peak that hit the center. So that's when they draw. Then you know exactly precisely where they sit, right? And, or sometimes they go out there, how they do things like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, if they don't have a mat board in the old day, they use their hand and go, it's not exactly a rectangle, but at least that gives you the midpoint and go, oh yeah, that's where I wanted, so you find a point, if there's a landscape and it just happened to have a tree here like this. So then when you put your finger out, every time you can move it and say, oh yeah, to find out where this tree sits by putting your finger out, so then you know that this tree is always in the middle. So then you just continue to draw. And then it just so happened that maybe there's a little hut on side of the hillside here or whatever, you can sort of already, by that time, you already know the quadrants divided like that, and you know exactly where that's it, right? So it applied to the landscape. It also applied to still life. So when you look at the still life, and let's just say we look at this one, if you put some apple, of course you're gonna have a picture. But we're talking about in the good old days before they have prints, they have photograph. I mean, they have to stand there, literally stand there, and then figure out, okay, where am I going to place this? So you can see the halfway point. Of course, you need to put it up on the easel. It's a lot easier to see. Then you can see that this halfway point right here, I can even tell you exactly, because this is about 14 and a half, 17 and a half, 7 and a half, sorry, 7 and a half here and right there. That's your midpoint, right?
I'm just going to ask Pat to mute. Pat, will you mute for me? Thank you.
And so this is how you kind of, and figure it out. So a lot of time, yes, you need to just do a little marking on the bottom so that you know where the halfway point is. And then on here, the halfway point will be, this is 12, so it's 6. It's right there, right? So it's just a little dot, it's okay, because by the time you shade it, it will all melt into one, right? So now when you have your center and then you start drawing, then you can start seeing, oh yeah, this is this quadrant and all that kind of stuff. This is just a little visual thing, and it's just, I always said it's just like using a chopsticks. You know, you got to do it again and again in order to see. And of course, the practice that I always make my student do is that you must have pictures, or you can put it onto your iPad or anything like that. Just pick a landscape, any kind of landscape. I find the landscape is good because then you know you can be off a little bit and you don't go crazy, right? Because if you start with the faces, you have to be a little bit more careful unless you don't care because you're drawing some stranger, then that's precisely okay. Okay. And the other thing to make your life easier, rather than drawing on here, I don't have, I pack things away. I have no idea where everything is. You know, those, what do you call it? Transparency. I mean, when I used to do monoprint and I buy them in a box and it like comes 100 sheets and then I would go take to the class and then we soap it. Have you done that before? You put this few drop of this soap on the transparency. Then you smear them all over the place, smear them, the whole thing got smeared. And then you let it dry. Then you take a watercolor and then you start painting on here. And usually if I want to, with a class, it's much easier for me to put the picture on the bottom and the transparency on top. And then I just follow, right? And I just take out paint color and go, oh yeah, paint here, paint here. You just follow and you paint on the transparency. After the whole thing is covered with paint, right? Then what you do is you take a big sheet of paper, the size of your transparency, you dip it into water, right? You dip into the water and then you take your transparency and then you turn it upside down and then you carefully put one end on and they fit onto the entire paper going down. And then you put another sheet of paper on top and then keep rubbing it, right? Rubbing it. And then after you're done, you lift this up. Guess what? The paint that was sitting onto the soap, because of the water on this sheet of paper, it released them.
Oh.
And it just released them and then, and put it on here. I was thinking of doing a little bit of demo like that too, but I cannot find my transparency. I may have to go and get some, on our Friday watercolor class. It's just something, it's also watercolor, but it's a monoprint, right? So you got the idea, you need transparency. Some artists make it, you got to find big one. They even, what is sometimes called Mylar. But as long as it's transparent, then you can copy. But some artists, they don't care as long as it's plastic. You can also do it on plexiglass. So then your plexiglass will always be there. And then when you finish a print, you wash it out and then you start another painting. Okay.
Would your painting you've transferred, it wouldn't be as bright, would it? Would it be as
No,
bright and
but
luminescent?
it has a really weird print-like nature, like a print-like texture.
Oh.
Yeah, it's totally different. And of course, for me, sometimes to me, it's almost like a waste of time. But if you paint on the paper, you won't get that texture at all, right?
And could you do many? Like, could you make 5 prints like a
No, you
seriograph?
can't. That's a problem. You can't. That's why it's called monoprint.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and sometimes some people put a lot of paint on their transparency. They would do a second print, but that second print will be much lighter because most of the paint already got transferred onto the paper, right? So anyway, what I'm telling you this is because you can use a Mylar, right, or a transparency, and then use these a permanent Sharpie and start divide them out and make yourself a grid, right? And then every time you want to draw something, you just put the picture on top of it, and then just tape it down, of course, so that it doesn't move. So then you can select, and then you know exactly. So then you don't ruin your original picture by drawing on it. Okay. So later, I'll actually, if I find my stuff, I will bring it out and show you. It's really simple to make. That is only when you want to make things easier for you rather than playing a good pigeon and then you can't see very straight. And the transparency helped, right?
Can
Okay.
you buy those? I mean, that should be something you could buy, your grid.
I think you can. The professional one, it's really neat. They actually have different sizes on the one of these things.
Mhm.
Yeah. So then you can do small one. You just use the corner. So for example, the commercial one, you can buy one that looks like this, you know, and then they have one that is in different color, like this, right? And then they will have another one, different color, even smaller, like this. So then you can, depends on what size you're doing, you know, you can just go, and sometimes it's just using a smaller one, you want something very precise, you can just take the picture and move it and put it under here. And then you work on individual. Yeah, so they just kind of help you measure, or, you know, you can do that, right? It's kind of fun. I mean, you know, and but nowadays this technique is you're using it less and less because most people just project things and then trace it, right? It's just a lot faster. But it's kind of neat to know, you know, maybe one day you get stranded on the island and you only have minimum equipment to do. Well, you may have to revert back to the old technique, right?
And I have a lot of 300-pound paper, which a light box doesn't shine
Yes,
through.
yes, of course, yeah. And your 300-pound is also a drawing for
Yeah.
drawing.
No, it's a watercolor.
Oh, watercolor.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's just easier to transfer, you know, if another way, right? You know, you can't really transfer. That's why I always use the 140 because you can actually see right through it. Okay, so now you know how to play a good pigeon. You also know to make your homemade stump from tissue paper, you know, and I love these. These are so easy to make, and then it covers large area nicely. Okay. And what other stuff do you have on the go there, Francis? I still have this one sitting here forever and ever. Usually when I do drawing classes, I always end up things like that, but which is good. Then, you know, next time I start another class, then you will be there. Oh, let me see.
So that was the flowers. I'm just
Yes.
adding to it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. Okay, I want to bring it closer. How did you find that? Isn't it kind of neat though?
It is neat. I have a lot of trouble with leaves, understanding how the light hits a leaf, right?
Yeah.
So when I'm trying to figure out my leaves, you know, like this one here, it
Yeah,
doesn't quite look right, you
Yeah.
know.
And
I
the
must need it in front of me.
Yeah. So the other thing about the leaves too, if you do leaf like this, the full leaf, right? Always trying to, if you want to put some vein on the side, you can actually just go, and if there's a sun that hits here, and then you go, okay, minimum here, and then you shade here. And then it's always nice to leave a space for the vein there,
Mhm.
right? Like that. Can you see on the screen?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
tiny. I'll make it darker so you can see. So then you will see the shades go here, the shades go there, and then you got this lovely little white vein in there. And then the light's coming from here, obviously, so it will be much lighter there, you know, and so on and so forth. And then on the bottom, that's the hardest part sometimes for me to make it. Okay, there's another vein here. Make it darker because you know, you want one side to be a little darker. So make sure that you can first of all do the same, just do the same shade, right? And this one doesn't have much highlight because you will be do the same. And then you go back again and go, oh yeah, next make it double, make it darker on one side of the leaf. All right, and it's always nice at that. Now some leaf have no mid side vein, and then all you have to do is go shade, 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 and highlight here, and then mid vein, and then you just shade this part darker, and then that's all you need to do. See, make it darker, and then this much lighter here. Then that was also right. And so today I also want to show you based on the Northwest Southeast business, and I'm gonna show you how to draw the spider plant, the leaves, the kind of grass-like thing, right? All right, so imagine that this is the opening, the top part of, you know, see, sometimes I need to draw darker so that you can see on the screen, but normally we don't do it like that dark because it's hard to erase after, right? Again, divided these up into 4 parts. Okay, so now we can still call this southwest, you know, and southeast, northeast, and northwest. All right. So let's say this is an opening of a vase. And then you have leaves coming out from inside. So this is how it works. Let's start with the southeast. The southeast one is you start with a curve like this, where the leaves hanging. And then the top part, we're going to do the top, and it's going to this direction, going to the east direction, meaning you go east and then down. And then from here, you continue, and then you go, yeah, that will be your leaf. Make sense? Right? Because, you know, in the past, I see people, especially older painter doing grass, they always do this. I don't even know how they do it. See? You've seen a lot of these, right? And some of them are really weird because the leaf, the grass don't normally fold in half like that. So then you have all these, you know, look like, to me, it looked like birds or something like that. And of course, this is a better way to do it. So the southeast, you do the curved line first. So I'm going to put the real one in here and say, okay, pick a spot and say, here's the leaf coming out from the pot. So now this time the southwest, you go in that direction for the top. Then you go here and then down, join to the point, and that will be your leaf. I'm just going to shade it a little bit so that you can see it. Right? And then the other part goes in there. You can't really see it, so it will be super dark underneath. Okay? So let's do the northeast. So if I have northeast, I go like this. Again, depends on how high you want your leaf or your grass to sit. So it goes like this. And this time it go in, meaning you go in and in. So that's the other side of the grass. And then go like that. So let's do a bigger one on the northwest. Okay. Again, a blade of grass coming out and then turn to the other side of the vase. And you go this way in. So you can see the top 2 are going in, the bottom 2 are going out. Meaning when you go into the top part of the grass, you can change the angle a little bit if you want, but it's still going this way. See, going this way. This one to make a bigger leaf. So it goes in like this. And then out here, you continue, and that's where the rest of the, all right. So then of course, this is the underside now. This is the underside, and then that's the top part of the leaf here. I keep calling the leaf, it could be leaf, but it's more like a grass, the blade of grass, right? Going like that. So it's the same thing with this northeast one, the bottom part. We'll definitely make it slightly darker on the bottom, and then you can get lighter out like this. And then the rest of it is just regular shading, right? So you can go in anywhere and say, okay, the only thing that is slightly different is the back here and the front. If you have a leaf that's looking at you, it's a foreshortening, then all you have to do is do a line here, right? And then the leaf will literally just pointing at you and you can't see the bottom part of it, right? It's coming straight at you. And then on the other side, it's the same idea. You go straight up. And then basically it's just like that. That's your leaf that you can't see the other side, right? So then you see here, once this is go like this, then you go, so for practice purposes, you do this out, and then you shade here, and that's another leaf. Do another one going out further, out, leaf. Okay, so we are doing the kind of just like a straight line, but I mean, you can do just about anywhere, but you have to start with a bend like this first, a little curve, And then you decide what angle. So you can go up a little bit and say, okay, I want to make a nice big leaf with the little bugs that shoot on it. See? And then down. So this will be the back of the. Make sense now? Yeah. So I'm going to make a one that's much clearer so that you can actually see it. It's good to do it a couple times, so then you understand how it works. So for this little exercise, is quite interesting. All you have to do is do a little vase opening from the top. It can be flatter, it doesn't matter. And you got, just draw a little neck like this. All right. And then you just, okay, just do a little like cross so that you know the four corners like this, right? Or four side. Then you just say, okay, I want to put a leaf starting from back because I want overlapping 1, right? And then I don't finish the rest. I actually go and say, oh yeah, put another one here. Turns just slightly going this way. So then this will continue onto this side. So this is the back of it. And then this is the back of that one, right? So now you go, oh yeah, I want to make one that kind of flow out this way. Sure, why not? Then you go the same thing. Now this time you already have that. We don't do the top, right? And then you can just go like this. So the sideway one is slightly different. So you see how still this is your bottom. And if you really have problems seeing it, you know, all you have to do is get something long and then you start bending and then you can see exactly how they sit, right? So this you can be, depends on how you twist this part, this line here, the cross line here. You can have one going to the back or you want from the front. So here's another one. This time I get an angle going this way, right? Then you go back here and it comes down. Here is the back. Right. So this is really quite fun to do because let me get a darker pencil. And then you can just say, oh, well, this one here doesn't do anything. It just go here and twist. See, here's the shade. Right. And that's why we do that. This is the spider plant thing. So you can go another one going underneath, coming out from here and turn. And then you go, yeah, I want it to be this way. So you go here, go down. And then this is the back side of that blade that continue onto the bottom here. Okay, so you just continue and doing all these lovely, you can create a beautiful, you know, see, cross, and then you can see there's another twisted one here, shadow. And you can have another one just down here. This time we can go a slightly bigger. And then on the bottom, this is a shade. Okay, so you see what I want you to do here? So this is kind of fun as well. So then you go the north, going to the north west. So now you know the northwest, this part goes in and then down. So that is, the leaf is pointing into the northwest corner like this. So then this is the bottom part here. Okay. And then you can also go underneath and you can keep adding. It will be so much fun to do. You know, you just, okay, this one here is a little angle at an angle, which is okay. Then you can do it like this. It's getting to a point almost like straight up and down. Now it's almost like one of those where you go in and just literally crossing it, right? But in actual fact, it's not quite exact cross. You know, one side is you can still going over, you know, like over a little bit. So this is a good exercise too for drawing, so that, you know, when you're doing bouquet and whatever, you can add these in, you know, so, you know, you can just place it wherever and do another piece of grass here. There's another one here, or maybe up underneath here, coming out from whatever. And then you underneath here, and this time you can have a little bend this way, of course, go in because the top part, and then it comes in. Yeah, see? Okay, so then pretty soon you're gonna have a big pot of, you know, all these grass growing in different, the blade of grass growing all the different direction. And it's so much fun to do. You just have to keep in mind, again, playing a good pigeon of the quadrant, you know, your northwest, northeast, southwest, and south, you know, so you know that all the leaves that are coming in this direction will be going towards the southeast. And so therefore, when you draw the one blade, one line, everything will be going out in order to create a blade of grass. So anything that going from here down, then everything's going to out that way to create. So this one sit right flat onto the lip here. So, okay. Then it's going this way and then up this way and up this way. Anything on the north west, it will be going up again, the same thing. You go up and turn. Then this angle changed now. So you're going this direction. So therefore on the top part of the blade of grass, you go like this, enter the pot, and then the rest goes in here, and that's the underside. Usually we put a little shade of a little shade on the underside just to indicate that that's the back of it. And then you have one that's going from here that it's just barely, you can barely see like that. So that part here will be the other side. All right, so your here is going like this way. Yeah, you can just keep going. Right? You just find an area, but if you do it lightly, you can say, oh yeah, I want this one to be on top. So therefore you can erase some of the line here. Yeah, this one is not so obvious, so I'm gonna draw it up a little bit. So this is the underside here. Okay, you know what I want you to do now. So okay, so I will send this one to you so that you will have it just for W, southwest, southeast, and so the northeast you go up, and then the line goes in like that, and then down, and then this one you go out this way. Also go out this way, okay? And then on this side here, go in, and then you go in that way. There. Yeah, so it's really quite fun to draw just a little bit of a vase if you want, and then of course we're just gonna let this be solid, a solid pot, right? And do a small one. You'll find it very interesting, you know, to play with a little pot like that. And then you can.
Willie, do you ignore cast shadows then when you're drawing? Because you've got your core shadows in, right? But
Yeah, with this one, you don't need to worry about too much about the shading. The most important thing is the flow, the direction, and how you flow, right? The only part that we do a little bit of the shading is the underside, so that we know that that's the underside, right? Yeah, that's it. And then of course, you know, the rest you can erase later on and say, oh yeah, the leaf here, that line we don't need there, right? So then you can see the entire, you know, and then of course this one you won't see the pot on this, the opening on there, you know, and then just erase whatever you need to erase. So, okay. Yeah, no, so this is really quite fun. I enjoy doing this kind of stuff because it's just beautiful flowing. And that is the part where we call it making your drawing sexy. Because if you draw something and if it's not sexy and you know it, right? For example, the actual plant may not look like that. the actual plant may look a little bit stiff and common, right? But it's up to you to give it a little bit of movement. So for example, if you have a leaf that sits very simple like this, or little grass that sits like this, how do you make it sexy? Well, you go in and then you start going, oh yeah, I wanted to have a little bit of movement here. Okay, just that little bit here changes it. Okay, that's why we call it the sexy part. You want to give it a little bend and all that. So that's why you see a tree in the garden, and then you want to draw in a tree, and the tree looked like, you know, real prune, night prune and all that. That's not a way to do a tree, you know, in a picture. You need it to be a little bit more interesting. Give it a little bit of movement like that, right? That's why we always ask people to draw a tree, because you can make it look more interesting by not doing it that way, especially in your landscape, right? Okay, so now you know how to do sexy, so that's good. Okay, I should just take a picture of these now and send it to you. Then it's done. Oops. Okay. I don't think you need to look at the pigeon one. You already know how to do the pigeon business. Okay, and then of course, if you want to make it look nice, continue to finish this picture, right, completely by doing all the necessary shading and mid vein and all that kind of stuff. Make it more interesting. Oh, where did Francis go? Okay, let's see here. Mail. Francis. Lucy. And Pat. P. Oh, that one. And then program Swissa. Okay, so I sent that to you. I like to do it right away. Sometimes I promise things nowadays, I forget. And then you'd be all mad at me.
Never, never. Willie,
No.
you know, the other thing we did last week is we were to draw a face with the,
After you-
better.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
Can you see the difference?
I can, but I struggled without an actual face in front of me to draw. With
Oh,
the
no, don't
size-
worry about that.
Yeah, but
Later on,
it was the size of the eyes. I ended up, they were huge, right? So I ended up
That's okay.
changing the size of the eyes. You know, it's like those famous artists had the big eyes.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
But is
And
that
then-
the one? Is that the one from your head?
Yeah.
Oh, it's wonderful. Isn't that good?
You think so?
Yeah,
Oh, I've changed
okay.
it so many times.
That's okay. So look at the first one that you did without without the instruction.
Oh, well, that was horrible.
That's why you should put it on Facebook, the before and after. You know. No, it's amazing. Once you know how to attack each part of the face, and then you're drawing. Now, if you want to do a real person, right? Then you know exactly where to shade, make sure that you give the core shadow, cast shadow, and all that kind of stuff. And you get better. That's why I'm making you do the old man and all that stuff, so that you get to shade it. You got to go into the you can do a low contrast like what you did there, the second drawing there. That's a low contrast drawing, which is okay. You know, sometimes we call it line drawing. That's okay. And but the high contrast is the one that is the hardest one to do, because just like the shepherd that I was doing, and you will be doing that, there's absolutely, you cannot see certain thing because the high contrast, you have to imagine where the rest of the nose is. You have to imagine where the other eye is. I like the high contrast because it just looks so dramatic, right? Okay, let's see here. What else I need to show you? So you can easily find Q-tip. You can easily find tissue paper. And do you have any question, Pat?
No,
No? Do you have anything to show us? You want to brag about your drawing? You can brag. Oh, that's the second one.
yeah,
Yeah, look at. Isn't it better than the first one?
Fantastic.
yeah, way better.
Yeah.
That's great.
Looks
Yeah,
like Francis'
it's amazing
sister.
how you
Francis'
start.
Your sister, they look alike.
Yeah, I know. But the Francis one is quite similar. Yeah, that's good. I'd like that. Yeah, no, I mean, you know what? You just have to know how to do basic. Immediately, you can see your changes there now, right?
This is the building.
Okay, the building one. Yeah.
Wow, you've been
Oh,
busy.
it's the one that I sent you.
Oh, the
Yeah.
cathedral.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because Francis wants to do an English garden, so I sent it so that you can. Yeah.
Or a countryside with trees too.
Uh-huh.
But this
And you
one-
know what? Francis, if you can find one for me, because I even go on Instagram and say, English garden, English whatever, countryside, whatever. It's hard to find good picture.
Mm.
Even on the
Yeah, I'll look in
internet,
my
I
book.
try. No, I'm glad. I'm so happy and proud of you guys. The changes that you can see. I mean, to be expected though, anyway.
It's a good teacher, right? Reflective of a good teacher.
Well, it's okay. I mean, I'm trying to give you not too much, but not too little, and give you a little bit of challenge. And unfortunately, like I said, the drawing compared to watercolor, it takes a lot of work. Like this one here, I'm just dragging about going in to shade the rest because it just takes forever. But anyway, while you're working on whatever you're working on, I'm going to continue to shade this a little bit just to get it started. Especially in the top here, there's quite a bit. I better put a little bit. Because you're starting to smudge if I, have so many dark colors. So I'm gonna just go zoom into one area and say, oh yeah, I'm gonna work here and say, oh yeah, there's some nice little dark color here. So I won't smudge or smear anything yet. I'm just gonna try to position all the dark first. And
Willie, I still have major problems smudging my work of art. So I have paper under my hand like you,
yeah,
but when I'm pressing down on that paper to draw, and then I lift the paper up carefully and put it somewhere else, I'm still transferring graphite, right? Because by nature of pressing on that paper, you're putting graphite on the bottom of that sheet.
yeah.
Is
It
there?
doesn't. No, I don't think it does much.
Oh,
at all.
maybe mine does.
No, you know why? Because you didn't smudge it, so the lead is still sitting on top,
Oh,
right?
so will the stump stop that from happening?
Yes, that's right. Because
Oh,
the stump basically is doing is take the loose lid and push it right into the fiber of the paper, right? You literally push it into it, so then it stays on it. See?
but do you do that to every part of your drawing? Don't you want to see some of your sketch lines? And
Oh yeah,
some-
you can do the sketch line, but you also can just do, right? You can actually take the short, harder one. You know, if this is a single line, you can still go in like this. Then you will push the lead in there, right? Yeah, and then you can ignore some of the little part. It doesn't matter really. But yes, once you start, once you start pressing this in, and that's it. It will stay down there. Stay in the paper here. Oh yeah, especially with this loose lead here, you take it over here, you can see why it's loose, right? You can transfer them. So yeah, once you go in there once, you basically stay down there.
Okay.
I know you don't like to use stump, but
Well, you know what? I'm going to do that portrait using a stump, and I'm going to see what I think. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm going to do.
And you guys, you're free to start drawing something somebody would be neat to try it. Just don't expect too much about them to look like them 100%. That's why when drawing faces, we don't want you to start drawing somebody because then you are preoccupied, about whether or not it looks like them, and then you forgetting about the technical part of it, right? Like on the top of the head here, I'm not going to do too much detail up there, just kind of know where they end, and that's good enough for me. And leave it quite light. So a little bit of hint here to where they're going, and then a little bit of hint. And that's about all you need.
Lily, can I show you about a year ago, I started a portrait of my grandmother.
Okay, yeah,
And
yeah.
I actually did the grid method, and then I've left it. Just because there's no contrast. I don't know what more to do to make it better.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you the photograph. This is
Okay,
my grandmother and me
Yeah.
back in 1975.
okay.
So
That
she's-
was you?
That was me, dark hair. And
Aha,
This is
okay.
fine.
So now this is your low contrast, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
it's not
so
good, is it?
no. So then you want to give it a little contrast. The first thing you should do is to the, rather than using a small, the big fat stump to do it, you use the tissue paper to first give it a little skin tone kind of look to it,
Okay.
right? So you basically get one of these large one that you made, and then you already have your drawing there.
Mhm.
Okay, so then you have to decide where the light is coming from, and then you just go and even put it on sideways and starting to smudge like that. See, if I were to do this guy without all these, heavy marking there. And this is what I do. See, you go in and you look at the picture and see where the flesh, tones are and all that. And then you, you give a, I don't know if you can, you can see a little bit, right? See? And then once you get that in, and just go and look for the darkest color, especially the eye. Excuse me. And the, see, look, I can do the whole entire face by doing this, right? That's what you need to do on yours. And of course, they'll highlight some area you don't need to do too much. And then after you've done that, you then take more pencil and start putting at the detail in there. So then it looks, this is better than looking like white nothing. Right now, your drawing is full of white.
Yeah. So what you use the stump in the light area first? Is that what you do?
You're basically giving the shape, the shape of the, and some some drawer, they don't even, when they're doing drawing like this, they don't even use a pencil. They use a stump to start. So they will pick up some dark color and then they will say, okay, that's the eye. See?
Wow.
They do all that first. They actually position all the lovely grayish color first, like this, see? And just steal some here. And then you that's how they I'm just going to show you how. Can you see vaguely where the face and everything is?
Yeah.
And then they will do, but in your case, you already have those lines on. It's even better. You just take these to go in and smudge it, right? And so that you can see that, okay, if I want my light to come from this direction, then I'll go, okay, have a little bit more shades here. Yeah, see how he slowly, we always said that it looks like a alien to start. Right?
You want some of your white of your paper to show through though, right? For the
A little bit, yeah.
contrast.
But it doesn't hurt to put some light gray over it, right? So then, when you finish, your background and this will be totally separated because there'll be no white, but it's still light enough, right? Compared to the rest of the drawing. So yeah, they do all these little shading like that first. And they do that in oil painting as well. And then you already have your lines and drawn up already. Then you start adding the detail, right? Like that. Then you add detail to it. And then your shading is whatnot. It's already there to work with the rest of these things. So then you don't have pure white, like in areas like that. You will have a little bit of shade starting already, right?
That is really interesting. I'm going to try that.
Yeah, and you can see, you can use various stump, and you can see how you're using your stump to actually outline, draw, and stuff like that, and blend first. And the drawing itself later on will be like just absolutely natural looking. But you can also help by going back in there and start blending more by using your stump or using the bigger one. It's almost like putting makeup on, so that you can start rubbing some of these things. And you can see a lot of these drawing like this with my Leonardo da Vinci, and they would do this kind of stuff. And you can see the women are really nice and soft, but then occasionally they will have a few really heavy lines just to indicate where things are, right? And you've seen these. I mean, sometimes they don't even bother putting lines on the outside of the the outline. They just give it using this, and for the studies and everything. So then they they know exactly where the light's coming from, why there's some areas are darker. I'm running out of lead here. And yeah, see, then you just rub it in there and it will slowly come alive. Like I said in the beginning, it looks really kind of like alien, really. But no, you know, once you starting to add all the nice color, and of course, what they also do too, I'll show you. So a lot of time they use pen and ink, and then they will actually go use the pen and ink to go and draw them in. It just look then you can really see, see,
That is great.
right? And for the pen and ink, you still need to have a little smudging to start, and then look at how soft that is, and then you can actually see where everything is now, right? But a lot of time, when I think drawing didn't even become an art until the last century, because in the beginning these are all just studies. Well, before they actually paint a real picture of the, with the commission and all that, the real people, they do all sorts of study first, right? And you can see a lot of books with Leonardo da Vinci, they have even Michelangelo, they do a lot of sketching, right? And even for sculptors, if you want to be a sculptor in those days, you have to learn to draw first before you get to sculpt, because then you understand the shading and the shape and everything. And of course, we turn the pencil drawing into an art form these days, right? Yeah, so for your mom's picture there, I want you to go and start putting some lovely shading like this, using a large home mix, to give you a lovely a little bit of the start like that, and then you can paint drawing the rest of it later on. So you can see this one corner here is already done, and that's what we need to do on all these later on. When I finish drawing, then I can go and start smearing some of these, make it softer. Yeah, there's still a lot of work to do here, but you can see where I'm going with it. See, here I didn't do anything here. You can see the difference between, and then of course the highlight will be a lot of the highlight happening in the forehead here. So I'm not going to worry, it's going to be, yeah. So here's a little of this, what do you call it? The temple here. They usually have a flatter, the bone kind of turn. So then you need to have that little line there. And then the rest of them, the wrinkle, you just have to enhance it, because all wrinkles create a little bit of shadow. And then you just go ahead and with all these smudging. Even in the dark, I can smudge it so that the lead will blend nicely into it. Including the cheek here with the highlight, I'm just going to put a little bit of, yeah. Okay, you will be fine. It's just a lot of shading and all lots of work. So do we know when the gym is going to be open? Are you hearing anything more about the lockdown?
Gyms are not going to be open.
I haven't
for a
been
while.
listening, but I don't think things are getting better yet. They're getting worse.
It'll be July before we see gyms opening up.
Really, eh? Because I was supposed to help my friend in May to go to Cranbrook, with their garden and help his mom. So now, they're not sure, because they said that going across BC, only reserved for essential workers, right? So if you're
The border's locked down right now in BC.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's gonna get any better because we just have to get all the vaccine in, and right now the younger ones are getting it now, so which is wonderful, right?
So we're not allowed to go into BC either?
No,
No.
yeah, they well they tell you the main port they're quite strict. Like for example, flying, you know, and Vancouver Island had done that quite a while back already. So now you can't even go into Vancouver Island.
There's no flights?
Well, there is flight, but you have to have a good reason to go on it.
Yeah.
I guess you have to prove to them that you I don't know how they control that. I have no idea, honestly. But it's okay, you know, if I don't go to, I will have more time for my own garden and stuff like that. Because we were going there, supposed to go help his mom. She's 84, going on 85, and she can't walk very well, and she lives alone on an acreage.
But that's a
And
good reason to go to BC. I don't think they would stop Rob.
yeah,
He's got a good reason.
and then of course he has to go over there to take her to doctors and make sure her meds and everything is taken care of, because she doesn't drive anymore. She had fallen so many times that she, you know, and certain pills are making her legs swell up. I mean, she's a mess. And now, of course, certain medication is making her losing her memory now. Yeah. So once in a while, Rob will say, "Can you call my mom? Just to tell me, see how she's doing, you know." And so I will call. And the other day I call, and you go, "Oh, hi," and then and then a few minutes into the conversation, he said, "Who is it?" And say, "I can't remember your name." So then I have to report back to Rob, and I say, "Well, yeah, she's not quite herself today, and then of course the thank goodness for the neighbor, right? The neighbors are the one who comes over to check on her and get her groceries and stuff like that. Yeah, and she won't move from there. That's the problem. She liked to live there, and she wants to die in that property. So
Has she had a dementia assessment?
well, they did, but they said that it's nothing to do with the I don't know how to put it. It has to do with the medication, right? So then they keep changing the medication to a different one so that it doesn't mess up her mind. Yeah, no, I mean, when you're that age and you live by yourself, it's not an easy thing. So I will go over there, and Rob would help her with all the paperwork and stuff. So sometimes she have bills and stuff coming in, and so now he's paying the bills online for her over here, and then the rest of the stuff that she received, she was put them in a box, and then Rob will go over there and take a look at everything. And then of course I will be minding the breakfast and lunch and dinner. So she loves my cooking. Yeah, no, I mean, it's a lot of work. I mean, I don't even do that for my own mom and dad because they're still capable of doing it.
So my mother-in-law is 97,
Yeah,
still lives at home,
yeah.
still drives.
Oh, wow.
Look-
Yeah, see,
looks
some
after-
people are just amazing, hey?
Wow.
Yeah,
If you take care of yourself when you're younger, you definitely will be able to be a little bit more mobile, you need to exercise, you need to strengthen those muscles and keep your muscle tone and everything.
My old man's starting to look like Santa Claus.
Oh, well, mine can be a Santa Claus too. I just have to put some pom-pom ball in there somewhere. See this little part, the fabric, it's actually twisted fabric on here, right? It's actually like a scarf that got, yeah. So that one too, you can just use your stump to figure out where the turn is. Like for example, here, there's one here going this way. And then here a little bit. Yeah. Sometimes I call Natalie. Her name's Natalie. I will call Natalie, and then she'll go, "Oh, you are here." You know, I said, "No, no, I'm not. I'm not in Cranbrook yet." She's just so funny sometimes. You know, she will go after we talk for a bit, and then she go, "So what's for dinner?"
That sounds like dementia to me, man.
It is in
I
some
don't
way,
think
like I said.
medication.
Yeah, but some days she is sharp. That's the problem, right?
I guess that's the thing. It's always such a worry when they're living alone.
Yeah, and of course, my friend have cameras set up all over the house so that he can see what his mom is up to, right? And the only problem is sometimes the pharmacy is actually pretty good. They actually put the pills and label it and what day and all that kind of stuff. And she's Italian, and sometimes when's the one? Medi or something. Anyway, he got the French because all the pharmacy they have French and English on it. But yeah, no, I mean, I help as much as I can. I just feel like she should be living here instead of over there. But like he said, she will never leave there. No matter how much convincing that no, she won't come over here. And besides, she didn't get along with their daughter-in-law, so that's another problem. Not that she will come and live with them, but I mean that's always a pain. Hey, when you marry somebody and then you do have friction and all that kind of stuff with the in-laws. Oh, that's hard.
Is there a trick to this beard? How to make it curly or whatever?
The ear?
The beard.
Oh, the beard. Not really. I know this one, it didn't really have curly, but if you want curly, you just don't do straight line, right? But it all looks like there's a lot of white beard happening here. So, it's just the a little bit of a cast shadow here and there, a little dark color. I would do minimum on the side here. Let it all nice and white, but you occasionally you need to go and have a sharp pencil and just give a hint of hair, right? Is the change like the shade here, for example, you got your 0 and 1 over here, and then you get into the 2. Okay, so that part, sometimes I get it all mixed up here. No, yesterday I was so emotional when I heard the verdict, you know. Even though I don't know the fellow, it really hit me. So now that part is over.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
Oh, you should see the army they deploy they anticipate some massive kind of a thing or whatever.
Been
And I
terrible.
knew right along that if you're a juror, you really have to think, do we convict him or not convict him? If we don't and let him free, this will continue. And then there'll be such a damage in the city there. I mean, there will be just a big, big mess. And you should listen to Fox News. Oh my God, they're not happy about the verdict.
Oh, no.
No, I don't like his eyes on this side. It looks like he's blind.
Maybe he is.
I'm gonna reduce this little shine on the top here.
Oh.
So what pencil do you use the most?
Well, I've tried all the pencils and I found like the 2B, it's too light. So I
Yeah.
start with HB mostly.
H2B is light.
No, sorry, is it 2H? 2H is light, sorry. And so I find
Okay, yeah. No, we don't use 2H.
never.
No, never.
Well, I was using it and I could see you can't do much with it. It's too light.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
No,
I'm
it
using
doesn't do
mostly
much.
HB. But then when I go back in to do really dark parts, then I'll do 2B. 2B,
Mhm. Good.
yeah.
Yeah, sometimes with the lighting, I find it, when you shade and then they have a little shine on it, it's hard to see where you're going with it. Okay, let's see.
Wow.
No, with the vaccine, you know what I'm just hoping that we'll be getting the second booster shot earlier rather than July. And they said we might get it earlier.
I was hearing that for AstraZeneca, right? But
Yeah.
then now that they've dropped the age and they're going to have limited shipment, I guess.
For the
I
first dose.
wonder- I do know a few people who managed to book a second one, but
Well-
I have a feeling now that might be changed, like there might not be enough right away,
Oh, okay.
but it's worth asking.
Yeah. But I got my first one and they said that they will let me know when it's available. They will call me or email me.
Well, plus also AstraZeneca, they don't want it less than 12 weeks because it's most effective after 12 weeks, the second one.
Yeah.
So I think that's why, yeah, there's some change.
My
I'm curious to see
other
what will happen.
question I have with these things is that,
Actually, two of my friends are getting their second one. They have it booked.
oh, really? Eh?
So
I
it's
thought it was
possible.
only Pfizer, you know, the second one. Because my mom and dad, they have the second shot already with the Pfizer.
Yeah, for the older people. Yeah, for the lucky people who are in before March 10th.
And the other thing I'd like to know is, with the second shot, is it the same as the vaccine? Is the same as the first shot?
Yes,
Apparently it is.
yeah, yeah.
So they want to make sure that everybody got the first shot first before they administer the second shot to people, right? And of course, next year we have to do it all over again.
Yeah.
Gee, you know, with this with this drawing, how are we going to price this, Francis?
$500.
About 10 cents an hour is what that works out to.
Oh. I know, right? I know for some of my friends, I used to do a lot of drawing. They love my drawing and they always want to buy it. And to me, it's just like, holy smoke, they're putting that much time, you know, and
Okay, do you frame your drawings then, Willie? What do you do with them?
well, I don't. If I sell it to them, I don't frame it. I let them do it.
But I mean, if you keep something you really like, do you actually frame your drawings?
Yeah,
You
I
do,
actually, especially the ones I like, right? And the problem is that I will have it framed nicely and sit in the home. I love it, looked at it all the time. And then if some friend came over, you know, to visit or whatever, and they saw that and they said, oh, I want that. And then of course, you know, me being Chinese, I can't say no to money.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, selling stuff to your friends is always hard because you want to give them a very good price because they are your friends, right?
Yeah.
So would you just frame it very plain because there's no color?
Yes.
in it?
No, in painting like that or drawing like that, what I normally do, my brother will pick a color of the mat, like similar to this paper.
Okay.
And then the bottom mat, like a double mat, the bottom mat will be on a charcoal, not black, but charcoal,
Mhm.
you know, and then you have a little black frame to go around it. And it just looks so stunning, you know.
And do you spray with a fixative before you get
No.
it framed?
No,
You don't.
the problem with the spraying with fixatives is that those things can actually change color over time, right?
Oh.
Yeah, it depends on what kind you use, and they might yellow, starting to make funny, they don't yellow evenly. So no,
I'm gonna show you my old man here.
okay, let's
He's
see.
the other guy. Oh.
Oh, yeah, the other guy. Oh, look at like Rembrandt.
It's great. Yeah.
God, Lucy, you're gonna turn into a Rembrandt soon.
I just need a Santa hat, and then he looks like a sad Santa.
No, actually, you know what? It's really good start. So just make sure that any area that needs to be slightly darker, just darken it, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep on going.
Keep on going. Like I said, this is a very drawing is a lonely business.
You can kind of do it. TV. You can watch TV and do it. Like I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure you can. I mean, I have my iPad. I mean, I try, but the problem is, to go on to Netflix is that if Rick is watching something downstairs, they will tell me that, oh, too many people are using it. I thought you can have at least 2 people watching. But for some reason, I can't watch it.
No, you
Well,
should
you
be
have
able
to
to have,
turn it
I
off.
think, 4 people on Netflix.
Because I used to be able to do that a long time ago, but now they must have caught on or something, or they don't want you
You
to.
might need to make, Willie, you need to make your own account, right? So when you go into Netflix, you would have, more than one account. We have like 4 accounts on our Netflix, but you just pay one bill, right?
Yeah,
You've
well,
got
that's what.
different entry points to Netflix.
Oh, because I see in the beginning, who is watching and all that. That's where you do that, right? Like I say, it used to work before, but now it doesn't. I don't know what I did wrong.
Oh, should work.
Yeah, I should try that again.
Mhm.
Because I liked watching my own show because Rick has a different taste altogether. I mean, the kind of show at nighttime he likes to watch horror movie. And some of these horror movies, not even horror, it's just funny. It's stupid. So last night, there's nothing to watch because we finished the 3rd season of Handmaid's Tale, and the 4th season is starting the end of this month or something.
I think I saw it on. It must be right away. Yeah, because I saw it advertised.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, we want to know now. I mean, I think the 4th season for the 4th season will be probably the end now, because they cannot go on forever. Because I know they have preview, and she's burning down the whole freaking place, which is very predictable because she had enough of that place. It's interesting to check out the actors and and actresses on there. The only one person I know is the Canadian, is the maid, one of the maids. The rest are mostly American and English actor in there. Have you guys seen it?
No.
You if you watch it, you'll get hooked. But it's a scary movie, though, when you think about what the world can be. You just need a few nutcases to implement, like Trump, can't wait to do that old man there, Lucy. That one would be neat because I've been looking through, the whole, this is stupid of me. A few years ago, I inherited a whole bunch of drawing paper, different colors and everything. And I have no room to store them. And I know a friend who lives in Red Deer and she's using a lot of paper. So when I was teaching in Red Deer, I told her that I'm coming with a whole bunch of paper for you. She was so happy and I gave them all to her. And now I don't have it.
Oh dear. Always the way. All right, so next week, are we gonna do that building?
Yes.
Get that prepared?
And the thing is that I want you to do 2 of the building. All right. One is the pencil. And the other one, we want to try a pen and ink. So if you can get yourself a Sharpie, that would be good.
Pen and ink.
Sharpie?
Sharpie, yeah.
Yeah.
This is
And-
the cathedral we're talking about, the landscape cathedral? Is that what we're talking about, the building?
Cathedral? I thought it was just a building. Isn't it a garden building?
Well, it has fancy windows.
It does?
It has sort of stained glass windows.
Yeah, it looks like the side of a cathedral to me.
Gosh, I don't even know which picture you're talking about, but I would check.
The house, I'll show you. I have it out somewhere.
It's in the email, right? If I have it in your email.
This one, see it?
Oh yeah, I keep thinking, oh, it's a garden.
Well, it could be like an English garden.
Mhm.
I don't know if it has a statue on the top. There's no crosses or anything, but it kind of
Okay.
does look like it does look a bit church-like with the windows.
Oh yeah. Well, it's probably looked like a very rich English home, like, Yeah. So draw it out, and the same thing again. Just and that's why the drawing buildings and is different than people and different than still life again. At least the front part of the flowers and all that, you can wing it, you can do it differently. But in terms of the angles and everything, so you have to think that you're looking up, right? That's why the roof is that way.
So you want us to do it in pencil and then also draw it lightly for an ink,
Yeah,
but do it in pencil in preparation for the ink.
yeah. And you don't need to put in all the detail, right? You can actually add to it afterwards.
Okay.
This is actually a real picture. It always, to me, those houses look like haunted, they? Well, this one is for you, Francis,
I
because you
like it.
want
I
to.
do like it. It's very
Yeah.
nice. I like it.
So we'll try that. I mean, if you're happy with just doing faces for now, go ahead and all that. But I just want you to try at least one pen and ink.
Okay, so I have some pens, very fine pens, right? Like,
Yeah, you can do fine to medium, and like a Sharpie is good, right?
and
you
we're
don't
gonna
need
do the pen part after this. Is that first or last? Like, when does the pen get done?
Oh, you draw them in pencil first, and I'll show you both of them in the same day, so you can play with that.
Okay.
So pencil first, and then we're gonna do the pen and ink. So it's something that you probably know how to do already.
Never worked in ink, and I've always wanted to.
No?
Yeah.
I mean, the real pen and ink is you actually have to have a nib, right?
Right.
And you don't really have to get one of these guys because it's such a mess. You have to dip it in and draw and all that stuff. I do quite a bit of these. I have different sizes nib and all that. And most of the time I end up using this for masking fluid. Yeah, I dip into masking fluid to draw like tiny.
That's a very good idea.
Yeah, so that's a really good thing to do for masking. I don't know how the hell I got all of these stuff. I mean, a lot of these things were given to me. Like I said, there's advantage of knowing all these old ladies because when they die, they always send stuff to me.
Tell them to just give you their money.
Right, right.
Okay,
Well,
Lori, I'm gonna sign off now.
Okay, I
I'm
think
very
that money
hungry.
they save it for
It
their
is, it's new. Yes.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you, Willie. See
Okay.
you, Misty. See you,
Bye.
Pat.
And hopefully I'll get this one completed because I'm liking him.
Yeah, he's very handsome.
Yeah, well, unique.
It looked like an old version of Mike Richard Gere.
We need
Bye, Willie.
land- we need
Okay,
a
bye,
landscape
Pat.
with sheep. That's what we need. Okay.
Yeah, that's why you see how I keep avoiding this part. This
Yeah.
it's too much work. Okay. So
Okay,
see you
bye,
next-
Willie.
Okay,
Bye,
bye bye.